once again. This is a bit of a continuation from the video I put up a couple of weeks ago called Write Me a Letter. Whenever us guys hear fine, we go into panic mode. Sometimes when you receive a fine in the letterbox, you also go into panic mode. So what we're going to do today is see if we can do something about that. Okay, this is a letter that was sent to someone that I know. I'll let you scroll through it, but what we're going to do is see what we can do about this. So the horror of horrors, you've received a demand letter, a fine, could be any one of those things. So what are you going to do? The first thing is you could do nothing and hope it goes away. Probably not much chance that that's going to happen. Two, you could get out your checkbook and pay it, but a lot of people are in pretty dire straits at the moment, especially with lockdown and that sort of going on around the world. Or you could write them a letter. This is the way I do it. This is my favourite method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to write a letter to get rid of fines, to get rid of anything that the Inland Revenue throws at you. And going to do it in 4 parts. So what you need to do is take a screenshot of this and the other bits to the letter and then put it together in a letter for them. Okay, so we're going to put our addresses there and their address. Now, in this case, I'm not taking out the lady's name who sent this because in a lot of cases, it's not a living being, it's just a computer named Sue Gillies. You may find that out with when you're dealing with the Inland Revenue, not with the police or fines or that sort of thing, but in most cases, it's just a computer. So anyway, this is the first part of the letter. Take a screenshot, and we'll come to the next part of it. The next part of the letter is the opening part of the letter. Thank you for your correspondence, which I received today, the 11th of September 2021. Now, if you're writing about a fine, you wouldn't put "and as a beneficiary," you just put "I do not understand your correspondence." So, as a beneficiary on a fixed income, I do not understand your correspondence. As I say, with a fine, just put "I do not understand your correspondence." That means you don't stand under it. On the face of it, it would appear that someone is trying to make a claim for unsolicited goods and services. Compare the Fair Trading Act 1986, Section 21A, 7 and 21B2, or enter our property but unwilling to make a bona fide claim as an injured party. Okay, here's 21A. Now, this is liability of recipient for unsolicited goods. Okay, in this section, in section 21C, unsolicited goods means goods that have been sent or delivered to a recipient without any request for those goods having been made by or on behalf of the recipient. Now, this is the part that we really want, is unsolicited services. 2, in this section and section 21C, unsolicited services means services that have been provided to a recipient without any request for those services being made by or on behalf of the recipient. Okay, did we ask them to contact us and supply us with services? No. So that's the first part of the letter. The next part here, and if you wait till I've asked all the questions there before you take a screenshot, okay? To clarify the situation, would Sue Gillies kindly respond to the following questions? Okay, now, don't put "would you kindly respond." Always put the person's name, because now you're holding them personally liable, or it could be a computer in this case. Okay, so the first question is claimant an agent of the Crown? Well, we know they are. They can't answer that. Is claimant required to act and abide by New Zealand legislation? Of course they are. Would Sue Gillies kindly forward me a copy of the contract assigned to engage your services? Not likely. Is Sue Gillies willing to take the stand to testify, or is she a computer? Ooh, that's getting a bit naughty. You won't need that, but or is she a computer if it's a fine? Okay, so just put is the cop willing to take the stand to testify? 5, If so, would claimant kindly show us what goods or services we ordered? Well, we didn't order anything, did we? Now we get close. Now, does this notice comply with Section 240 of the Crimes Act? And I'll guarantee none of you out there know what Section 240 of the Crimes Act is, but you'll get a surprise. I'll cover it in the next slide. And should this not be treated as discharge for misrepresentation under Section 40 Contract and Commercial Law Act? Now, that one there is a real cruncher, and it's the one that I use on any of the fines that I get. Okay, so at the end of that last slide, take a screenshot of that one. And Crimes Act 1961, Section 240, obtaining by deception or causing loss by deception. Everyone is guilty of obtaining by deception or causing loss by deception who, by any deception and without claim of right, obtains ownership or possession of or control over any property. Now we are property. Or privilege, service, pecuniary advantage, benefits, or valuable consideration, directly or indirectly, or in incurring any debt or liability obtains credit. And that's what they do. They get credited for that. Induces or causes any other person to deliver over, execute, make, accept, endorse, destroy, or alter any document, thing capable of being used to derive a pecuniary advantage, or causes loss to any other person. That whole part there is what they're doing, because they're not telling us that they are administering a deceased estate. So it's deception. We look at that name, we think it's us, and so we get the checkbook out, or we end up in court or something like that. You don't need to, if you know this section and the following. Contract and Commercial Law Act 2017, Sections 40. Sections 36 to 39 have effect in place of the rules of common law and equity. Sections 36 to 39 have effect in place of common law and of equity, governing the circumstances in which a party to a contract may rescind it or treat it as discharged for misrepresentation. Okay, we know it was misrepresentation, so we treat it as discharged, but we must write to them and let them know that it is deception. Don't forget the stamp on the back if you're watching the last video. If you haven't watched Gems, go and watch Gems on what to do on the back of the letter, so that you don't let them come back at you. Okay, now this is the final part of the letter. So once again, take a screenshot. Now, we're putting them on notice with this. We believe that this is a fraudulent claim for unjust enrichment, as there does not appear to be a sworn affidavit to substantiate the charge, and do not believe that the evidence provided would satisfy all elements of the charge, or a plaintiff with a claim of right in this matter who would be willing to take the stand and testify to the veracity of the charge. Any further attempts to extort money will require a letter signed by someone under their own full commercial liability in order for us to address full accountability and seek legal recourse under the Fair Trading Act, Section 21C and Section 23, which we covered earlier. In the interim, this is a cease and desist order until this dispute is finalised. Your prompt response is appreciated. Okay, now that is a very powerful notice, and they must act under their own statutes. So they've got no alternative but to discharge this under Section 240. Okay. This legislation quoted and the questions asked should be enough to stop all intruders. But guys, if you understand this, you need to help others. It's your duty. Other people probably not as clued up. So if you get this and you write the letter, you'll find that they will never come back to you. Then you must help others. The more you help others, it's the way the universe works. The more you help others, the more will come back in good to you. So keep up the good work, guys, and let's attack them.